What if I told you there's a silent threat lurking in your bloodstream, one that your doctor probably isn't even testing for? It's linked to clogged arteries, leading to heart attacks, even in people who think that they're healthy. It's called lipoprotein a, or LP a. And if you've never heard of it, that's exactly the point. That is the problem. We all know about cholesterol, right? LDL is bad, HDL is good, and that's what we've always been told. Well, that's not entirely true. Cholesterol serves a purpose, and we have come to know that LDL is more a bioindicator of heart disease rather than a cause. And in some people, it actually goes the other direction. But we won't go down that path. Here's a major blind spot in the conversation, and it's called LP a. LP a is like LDL's evil twin. It's a sticky, artery-clogging particle that might increase your risk of heart attacks, strokes, and aortic valve disease. But here's the catch. It's completely genetic. You can't just diet or exercise your way out of it. At least that's what the evidence would indicate at this point. Now, you might be thinking, if this is such a big deal, why haven't I heard about it? Well, that's because most doctors haven't heard about it either. They don't even test for it. The standard cholesterol test, the one your doctor runs at your yearly checkup, it doesn't even check for LP a. If you don't specifically ask for this test, you have no idea if you have it or not. You have no idea whether you have any risk. That's like going to the dentist and only checking for cavities while ignoring gum disease. Yep, and that happens too sometimes. Yep, cavities matter, but you might still lose all your teeth because of gum disease, even though the teeth are healthy, and maybe if the teeth have no cavities. So here's the real kicker. You could have perfect cholesterol and still be at high risk because of LP a. Now, how do they find out if you're in danger? So there's good news. It's a simple blood test, but there's bad news too. You have to ask for it. So what's a normal level? Below 30 milligrams per deciliter, you're in the clear. Between 30 and 50, most guidelines will call that borderline. And 50 to 100 milligrams per deciliter, we're talking about, some researchers call this at increased risk. Now, I tend to focus on higher levels because I have a ton of patients with LP a. Over 100 milligrams per deciliter, that falls into more of a category of high risk. By most folks, I will tell you, because I see so many patients, I don't think levels below 300 are that much of a problem, and especially below 200. If you're in a specific risk category, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. So what can you do about this? Diet and exercise alone don't usually reduce LP a. They can help. And yes, if you're sitting there listening and you have this and you are aware of the debate, is LP a really the arsonist or is it the fire department? I know that's a very active discussion and I have been on both sides of that debate. But this video is more for someone who's never heard of LP a. If you look at the most prescribed medication for cholesterol, statins, they don't actually help at all for LP a. But there's still ways to lower it using some things like niacin, vitamin B3. It's been shown to lower LP a. I recommend 500 milligrams up to even 2 grams. Now, those are high doses. Be careful. Niacin can be hard on your liver, and it can cause some facial and scalp flush that just a lot of people can't tolerate. There's another medication group, the PCSK9 inhibitors. An example of those is Repatha. Those are injected medications. They're the new medications to really lower LDL. They also lower LP a. They're prescription medications, and again, they can help. Now, there's another group. It's called antisense drugs. They're in research right now. The antisense drugs have shown that they really do decrease LP a lot. There's not been enough study to show that they're safe completely yet, and there's not been enough study to show that lowering LP a is actually going to make the difference that we hope. The antisense drugs target RNA, and they stop cells from producing LP a. And again, as I said, these medications are still not quite ready for prime time. We expect they will be over the next couple of years, and we expect that they're going to be very, very expensive, at least in the beginning. Another strategy is called lipoprotein apheresis. That's a procedure where, using a special machine, lipoproteins are removed from the bloodstream. It's like doing a blood transfusion. You take the blood out of your body, you pull those lipoproteins out of the blood, and then you put the blood back in the body. It helps temporarily, but is usually just reserved for patients with levels over 600. Very, very high levels. And again, we're talking about milligrams per deciliter. Unfortunately, it's not a cure either. An honorable mention goes to aspirin, which, even though it doesn't reduce Lp(a), it does reduce cardiovascular mortality, even in cases of elevated Lp(a). There's one last strategy, which is actually recommended for everyone, despite your Lp(a) level. No matter what that level is, you need to change your lifestyle. You need to have a healthy lifestyle to improve your metabolic health. But wait a minute, what do I really mean by that? Think of Lp(a) like a fireworks sitting in your bloodstream. If you're insulin resistant and you have inflammation, you have high oxidative stress, that fireworks already lit. But if you're metabolically healthy, it's just sitting there. It's not going to get lit, and it's also not necessarily going to explode. You have good blood sugar control. You have good, nice, low insulin levels, a strong triglyceride over HDL, a nice low level of triglycerides well below 100, HDL well above 40s, 50s, even 60s. All of those things are really good. They're going to indicate and show you probably have low inflammation. Lp(a) just is not going to be as dangerous for you as it is for someone with poor metabolic health. So let me put it this way. If you have high Lp(a), but you're metabolically healthy, your risk is elevated, but still very, very manageable. And many of us might debate that your risk is just not that high. If you have high Lp(a) and you're insulin resistant, and you're not managing your lifestyle, that's when the real danger starts kicking in. It's like having a ticking time bomb, except you actually have some control over whether it goes off. So, here's what you need to do right now. Number one, get tested. Ask your doctor for an Lp(a) test. And if you can't get your doctor to do it, we can help. Let us know. Check the information below. Number two, optimize your metabolic health, reduce inflammation, balance your blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity. Number three, if your levels are dangerously high, talk to your doctor about advanced treatments. And again, if your doctor doesn't understand it, give us a call. You might not be able to change your genes, but you can control how much damage Lp(a) does. This whole solution is like finding out your house has termites. If you catch them early, you can stop the damage. If you ignore them, well, hope you like living in a pile of sawdust. To know more about how to clean arteries and how to be metabolically healthy, watch this video right here.